Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name's Derek. I own a Tesla Model S and I have a problem with my lower control arm. It's making a knocking noise as you go over the bumps and when you turn corners. And I've bought a new lower control arm from eBay. I think it was around £100, and I've bought a new bolt for the end of the control arm from Tesla, which was around about £8. These are 2023 prices. The lower control arm comes off relatively straightforward, apart from the bolt doesn't clear the battery pack, so you have to cut the bolt off to get the lower control arm out. Tesla used to remove the battery pack to do this, and now I think they do actually cut the bolt as well and then put the bolts around the other way, so there's a lot of there's plenty of clearance that way. So yeah, the plan today is to do that work on my driveway myself. So yeah, safety first. Make sure when you're jacking up a vehicle, make sure you lift it up with a trolley jack and then support it with axle stands. Wear eye protection, gloves, that sort of stuff. And this is just how I did it. It's not a tutorial as such, it's to give you an insight into how it can be done. So there's bits that may be missing from the video where I didn't record and stuff, so bear that in mind. This is not a tutorial, this is just what I did. So yeah, please subscribe, like the video, share it, that sort of stuff, and hope you enjoy it. So here we have my wheel. It's basically knocking as it goes over the bumps. So I know what the issue is. Let me show you. The wheel aside. Okay, so let me show you exactly what the problem is. So behind here, you have this arm here, lower control arm, and the ball joint at this end has movement, so that rattles around. I don't know if, probably can't do it based on moving it by hand, but when you go over bumps and stuff, you get in a big jolt. And that's the problem. So basically it needs to come out here, and the ball joints at the end. The main problem is here, because as you can see, the end of the bolt is right next to the battery pack. This is the this here is the high voltage battery of the Tesla, and there's the bolt, and as you can see, if you unscrew it from this side, you've got the nut, but then the bolt's going to come out and it's going to hit the edge of the battery. So basically the real proper way to do this is to take the battery out of the vehicle. Obviously much expense, so the plan is to cut this bolt off. So I've got a new bolt to put on, so I've just got to get my angle grinder in there, cut the bolt off, and then it will basically fall out. These ones will be okay, and then I can replace the arm. First things first, I'm just going to lubricate these bolts so they're easier to come out. So here we have the new arm and we have the new bolt. So basically, as I said, this bolt needs cutting around about here after I've removed it a little bit, and then I'll cut it through the angle grinder and then it should come out that way. and then I can fit it the other way, so if it does happen again I could just unscrew it and take it out that way. So that's the plan with that. Okay, tools for this job. Basically you need a 19mm, you need a 15mm and a 21mm. You need a couple of these, and I've also got 22mm. I don't think I'll need that. Got ratchets, and I have 15mm spanner. The bolt, that's all you need. So fingers crossed it will cut off okay. So let's see. So I've got my 22mm ratchet on this side, and this side I've got my spanner just on the nut there, and basically we'll be undoing it from this way, because this side you can't get the socket on this nut, otherwise I'd use a socket. Okay, and that's the middle bolt out. Now it's the turn of the ball joint bolt, which is here, which I believe is also 19mm. You also need a Torx 40 at the bottom of the ball joint. It will go in there, then you can get a spanner on and do it. And that's the nuts off of the ball joint. These little washers, you can buy these new from Tesla, and probably should have bought a new bolt really, but I didn't. But it's okay, that's come off okay, and I'll reuse it. I'll give it a bit of a clean up first. So now I've got to remove the nut and bolt of this at the back. Now, like I said, I've got to undo the nut on one side and then bring the bolt out enough to cut it with the angle grinder. The problem I've got is that my socket set doesn't fit in that gap, so I can't actually put the socket on there. I'm just going to have to hopefully undo it via the nut on the other side, so I haven't got a spanner that fits that. So I'll give that a try. If not, I'll have to go and get a spanner, but fingers crossed it'll come out okay. Also, what you want to do here now is to make a mark so you know where the position of the nut is, so you can put a little bit of Sharpie across the nut and where the bracket is, or take a photo or something like that, so you know the orientation of the nut. Okay, so now I've removed the bolt. You can see the thread of the nuts just poking out there. I've removed the washer as well. Now this one's important because it does adjust the alignment of the car. So what I want to do is try and get it pretty much identical to how it was, and then I'm going to get it realigned. But yeah, the bolt now needs to be pushed out enough to get my angle grinder up there. So I'm just going to tap on that, and that should slide across and giving me enough purchase to get the angle grinder to cut the bolt. And then this arm should basically just drop out, fingers crossed. Right, so you can see the problem I've got. This is the reason why we're having to cut this bolt off, because it hits the battery pack. So hopefully I can get my angle grinder in here now and cut it off. I'm going to have to be very careful because obviously I'm very close to this battery. Really careful. I might actually put the nut back on the end here just a little bit so it can't go any further than that, so it doesn't actually hit the battery. I think that's what I'll do, and then I'll cut it just here, or maybe directly inside here, because this Remember, this is being replaced anyway, but I don't want to damage the brackets here or obviously the battery. So yeah, I think I'll put the nut on the end there, just a little bit, so it's just enough to cut it. And I just need to get this off, so this will basically slide out this way, that way. Because obviously there's loads of space on this side. So yeah, that's why this job is a bit of a pig and also expensive if you take it to Tesla. So, like I said, I'm going to put the nut just on the end here, just enough so it won't come out all the way to the battery on this side. Okay, so that's the nut on that side, just enough so there's a little gap there just to get the angle grinder in. Fingers crossed. I'm here to cut this off, and I'm going to have to be really careful. Right, so I've hit another obstacle. The angle grinder just doesn't fit. There's no way of accurately getting the blade in there without possibly touching the bracket or the battery. So this is a I think it's 5-inch standard angle grind disc. I've went out and bought these huge discs. See the difference? So yeah, you're going to need bigger cutting discs if you are going to cut through the bolt. The alternative would be to buy a long one of these for metal cutting and basically persevering to get through the bolt, but I don't think these would be good enough, to be honest with you, but that's another option if you really had to. Okay, so it's very tight in here, but I think up there, cutting it, it's gonna maybe scrape there, which is annoying, but it's the only way to do it, apart from going in there. Maybe that might be an option. That's what I might do actually. So I'm going to cut it through the rubber and then that should fall out then, hopefully. That's pushed right in, cut through the rubber here, avoiding the bracket obviously, and that hopefully won't touch any of the other. Yeah, that's the best way. Nicely fits there. Don't know how well that's coming out on the camera, but it'll be nicely fit through there. Do this bit here, and it avoids this, which you've got to make sure you don't score that or this. You could probably take this off actually, looking at it, but don't really want to do that. I think it'll be fine, but I will if I need to. And obviously I don't want to do this because this is actually part of the battery, so I don't want to score that. So yeah, that's the plan. I think that'll be fine anyway. Okay, so that's working. You can see I'm cutting through it quite successfully here. Tapped that bracket there a little bit. Not a lot I can do about that, but it's okay. Nothing else has been touched so far. Just got a little bit more to cut through. And just like that, it is out. In theory, I should now just be able to pull this out. There we go. And then the arm will just pull out. So there's the old bolt. As you can see, the arm here is an original Tesla arm, and it should just be able to come out now if I lever it with this lever. And there you go, that's it out. You can see where I cut it here, just enough to cut through the bolts inside. And this is why you can see the movement there. It's not great. So you can just
So that's where the knocking sound has been coming from. And that's, I don't know how tight that's normally supposed to be, but that's quite loose as well. Well past their sell-by date, I expect. Probably the original ones. Well, I'm pretty sure they are the original ones. So there we go. And I have the new one ready to go on. There's no damage to the bracket. Right, now I have the new one. That is really tight. There's no movement at all in that one. So, and there's no movement in the ball joint at all. So, well worth doing. It's basically just reversal, I think, of removal. That will slide up into there first, and then it will basically just lift up into position. Now this is the important thing. It's getting the bolt in and adjusted, so the camber of the wheel remains the same as what came out, and then we'll get it aligned. The faulty ball joint has actually left the tyre needing replacement anyway. Right, now reassembling, it's important to get this ball joint in first. So you basically hook it in, get the nut on if you can, and then you want to get the suspension strut in next, which is this bolt here, goes through, so get that in. Then you've got the final bit, which is the arm here that you just basically push into position, and then you apply the bolt from this way. Now here, hopefully you'll be able to see, I marked the bottom of the washer to signify where it was positioned with a bit of marker, and that's been put in the same place. And I also took a photo of the bolt, and the washer's in exactly the same place again, or more or less. So that's going to be good enough for the alignment, I think, and then I will get it tracked. So on this side you can see where the nut is. It's just going to be a case, it's very hard to do this while holding the camera. It's a case of putting the washer on and then the nut on. So that's the bolt in now. So it's just a case of tightening all these bolts up now. So that's what I'll do next. So that's us done. I've got the bolts on this side and the new nut on that side. Everything else is tightened up. Now it's a case of, when you tighten up this, it's important that the wheel's actually on the floor, so the suspension goes sort of up, and then you tighten these up. So I've already done that, and then I've took the wheel off again, and then I've really tightened them as much as I can, and hopefully that'll be fine, at least until I can get to the alignment place. This work actually was done probably about 6 months ago, and I've actually since replaced the other side of the vehicle as well, the same job. Did the same job on both sides, worked fine. What I did notice, this one we're doing today is the passenger side, UK passenger side, and this is how I did it. On the other side, the UK driver's side, I actually found it easier to cut the bolt out with the bracket. You'll notice in this video I cut it inside the bracket, and that's because of the clearance from the angle of the hold the angle grinder and where the battery pack is. But on the other side everything's reversed, so it's actually easier to cut it outside the bracket, so bear that in mind as well. But otherwise it's exactly the same job. So yeah, hope you find it useful. This is the first video on my channel, but I am going to be uploading plenty of other Tesla
DIY videos and trips and things like that, vlogging trips, and I've got free supercharging on the vehicle, so I do a lot of vehicle maintenance myself. It's all out of warranty now, so everything's going to be done myself, or I might have to go to specialists for certain stuff. So yeah, I've had the car for a few years now. It's been great, apart from there's been a few little jobs I've had to do, and that's where I'm going to upload the videos onto this channel. So please subscribe if you want to see some more. I've got a video about replacing the rear parking brakes. I've got the wiper motor assembly, and there's a few other bits and bobs I've done as well. Please like and subscribe and share the channel. Thanks again. Bye for now.